Hello and welcome to Eva's House of Spirit. I'm Eva, and today I want to talk a little bit about balancing focus, particularly in regard to spirituality or magic or the occult, things of that nature, the metaphysical element of life, and mundane life, mundane affairs, mundane matters. I really honestly believe that there should be a balance there. Now, what got me onto this topic is an incident that happened just now. And before I even go into that, I just want to explain what I mean by a balance of focus. I think a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times we tend as practitioners to become very passionate about our path a lot of times, to the point where our focus is so strongly on spiritual matters that certain things in mundane life go unnoticed or less attended to. And I feel it's important to strike a balance so that neither one or the other is neglected in any way. To be a well-rounded individual, I think you really need to divide equally your attention, your focus between your spiritual life or your magical life or whatever, your metaphysical element of life, and your mundane. What happened to me was an issue that wasn't a mundane. It concerns money. I logged on to my online banking yesterday, and there was this fee. It was like an insufficient fund fee, and it was like $25. Well, I had to run off to work. I didn't really have time to calculate it right away, so I just went off to work. But when I came home, I reviewed my online transaction history from the point that I got paid my paycheck to present, and I calculated it like 4 times. The bank had charged me for insufficient funds when I had funds remaining. After all my spending, all my purchases, everything was accounted for. I checked it like 4 times. And the reason why I'm even talking about this, before I get into what happened, is because I could have easily accepted what I saw on the screen. And I could have just said, oh, I must have not been paying attention, and I could have just, I could have allowed this to happen to myself. I'm a person that, on a regular basis, I am very focused on spiritual matters. So my focus is not always as much on the mundane aspect of life. Like, I mean, granted, when I go to work, my mind is on work. When I am doing certain things in mundane life, my mind is there. But certain little things like this fee, if I wasn't fully paying attention, if I didn't stop and go, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, if I didn't calculate that, I wouldn't have realized it was totally wrong. And I do believe that the money that we earn and the jobs that we do, in a sense, these are spiritual things, because they're grounded in our domestic living, situation. They're linked in with that. It's the way that you make your living. It is, in a sense, spiritual, because not only are you supporting life, you're caring for yourself and others with the money that you make, you know, and there's just so much more to it. You know, the only money that you can trust is the money that bleeds from your hands. And you should, you know, respect the job that you do and the money that you earn, because you work hard for that money, and it's the purpose of it is to care for yourself and others. So granted, you know, I call up the bank, and the girl at the bank, she just blew my mind. She's trying to tell me that that somehow I was wrong, and I said, do you understand, like, the transaction history? And she tells me, oh, it's hard to follow. Let me just say that one more time, because the girl that works in the bank told me the transaction history is hard to follow. She works at the bank. You would think that if someone works at a bank, they should know how to read a transaction history. You would also assume that they should know how to do math. But, you know, I wasn't mean to the girl. In the end, you know, she agreed to refund it. But, again, she blew me away because she told me, oh, it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy? You miscalculated something. And it's a courtesy to give me back the money that you shouldn't have taken. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so I got back my money, but I just wanted to come on here and just say, I think it's really important to pay attention to all those little kind of details like that, especially when it comes to the money that you earn to take care of yourself and others, your livelihood. You know, this is part of your domestic life. When you get a paycheck from work, you should really be checking to be sure they didn't short you any hours, because no one else is going to check that for you. And if your focus is elsewhere, if your focus is very, very much on your spirituality to the point where you're not paying attention to those little mundane details, you may miss that. You may be, you know, shortchanged. You may be hurt because you're, you know, you may be at a loss if you are not paying attention. So I think that attention needs to be divided. And the same goes for, you know, things with your bank statement. You should know where your money is going. Now, money itself, I don't think is a spiritual thing, but you're earning your money, and what your money goes toward, you know, taking care of yourself and those that you care about. That is, I think, a spiritual thing, because, you know, most jobs involve service, and service itself, you know, it can teach you a lot of lessons. You know, humility, honesty, it can teach you a lot of things. It can really build your character, build your patience. There's a lot of things that work can teach us. And so I think that, you know, being that you're going through work as not only a necessary thing, you know, you're going through that process on a daily basis, but then, you know, when you're getting compensated for the honest work, you know, honest work for honest pay, you want to know where that money that you have earned, that money that has bled from your hands, that you can trust, you want to know where that money is going, because no one else is going to pay attention to that for you. And also, one more thing I just want to say about focus before I wrap up this video. It's not just where your finances are going. There's a lot of things that can suffer if your focus is not equally divided. You know, if you're so wrapped up in your spirituality to a degree that your mundane life is less attended to in certain respects. I mean, that can harm relationships. It can harm your productivity. It can keep you from being like grounded. You know what I mean? You need the mundane to ground yourself, so that you don't completely lose yourself only in spirit, and then, you know, you're your mundane sector of life, you know, all those aspects that are more grounded in physicality and your life, they don't go, you know, unaccounted for. That you know, you want to be sure that, you know, that you're able to, you know, take care of your family, you know, take care of your kids, you know, whatever, take care of your career, take care of yourself physically as well as spiritually, you know, like you want to just be sure that there is a good balance. It is easy, and I've found myself in the past sometimes getting so focused on spiritual matters that kind of physical things were getting neglected. Sometimes even quality time with other people occasionally gets neglected. Not always. Particularly, it's easy to fall into that when you're a solitary practitioner. Sometimes you kind of like go into your hermit shell and you're all about your spiritual pursuit, that you don't realize, like, hey, you're not part of, you know, you're not connecting with those around you, with your community in a sense of friends and family as much as you should be. So I just wanted to make this video, this short video, just to kind of like throw that out there, you know, be sure that your focus is balanced, and be sure that you watch where that honest money that bleeds from your hands, make sure you watch where that is going. Pay attention to your bank statements, pay attention to the hours that you are being paid for when you get your paycheck. No one else is going to check that for you. If you see something wrong, you know, bring it to your superior's attention and they will fix it for you. So I will be bringing you more videos that are more spiritual in nature, but I just really thought this message, though it is not as deeply rooted in spirit, I thought this message of balance is something that should be said. So till our next exchange, blessed be and ashe, and I welcome your comments, questions, thoughts, etc. in the comment box in regard to this video. Thank you. Have a great day.